is some bullshit. I stand by what I said.
It's books and bullshit, you dumb fuck.
Wow. Fucking shade. Well, since the readers are now in and the listeners...
What?
Since the listeners are in, and you now told them what books and bullshit is...
This just in! Zach doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
I guess I'm Zachary Chopchinsky, the Bowtie author, USA Today bestselling author, and I'm here with Martina Magazine, the shade thrower.
I like that. I'll keep it. Thrower of shade. Mother of deadlings.
God damn it. Shade.
You can never, ever, ever win this because I just don't care. There's nothing you could ever say to me that somebody hasn't already said to me, like when I was like in 8th grade. I'm pretty much bulletproof at this point.
That's fair. I remember one time when I was a kid, my stepdad was like, he was calling me names, I was calling him names, and he was like, he goes, you couldn't say anything to me that would hurt my feelings, boy. And I was like, all right. we were at the dinner table, and I was like, all right, you might want to put that fork down because you're getting a little round in the belly. I was like 12. He legit put his food down, went up in the room, and didn't come out for the rest of the night. That broke that man. I'm like... Don't fucking tell me to bring the heat if you can't fucking take the heat, man. Shit.
You sure you're not gay, Zach? Because, man, you got that radar zero right in on their weakest link.
Damn. Like Devine was so pissed at me, and I'm like, he said I couldn't do it. So I brought it.
When I was like 4 years old, I got into an argument with my sister who was 15. Wait, do the math. No, yeah, 15. And... I thought I was being really funny, and I called her an eyebrow plucker because I thought that was a really good insult at 4 because she plucked her eyebrows. She called me a bicycle seat sniffer.
That's
and I was
so much better.
Very angry and so mad, and I was like tattling on my sister to my mom, who could not stop laughing. And then the bird started laughing at me. Yep. That's exactly how it went. And so I just stormed into my room.
Fuck all of you.
To this day, I'm 42 fucking years old, and I still remember my sister calling me a bicycle seat sniffer. Like, I don't even know where the fuck she came up with that. That's the thing about my sister, man. You can't out-zing her. She's on it. That's why we're all funny in my family.
You have to be. Sink or
no
swim.
pity laughs.
Ride or die, motherfucker.
That's right.
So... on the note of, like, what kind of made us us, so we have an interview today. And we're interviewing Mr. C.J. Rutherford. Now, before we get into that, I wanted to take a time, because C.J. has a little quirk about him that a lot of us have, and I kind of wanted to point it out.
He's an alcoholic?
That, too. No.
He's Irish.
So, well... that too. No, we all have our little quirks and things that we do, and it's funny how a lot of us have very similar quirks with writing. Writing, any kind of like creative field, brings its own uniqueness, nerve, talent, charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent to...
Is this drag queen?
Yes.
Related? Is this RuPaul's Drag Race?
Yes.
C.J. Rutherford, are you a drag queen?
But we bring that own thing to it. So I wanted to talk about author quirks and habits and performances and things like that. Things that we do that make us us.
Things that we do that make us us. That sounds like a fucking like a biology lesson in 4th grade. What makes us us?
Boys have a penis. Girls have a vagina.
Our mom says our dad's a real sex machine. Penis, penis, penis. Vagina, vagina, vagina.
Penis, penis, penis. Vagina, vagina, vagina.
God, that was a good movie.
Will you go to the prom with me?
Do you see her whipped cream bikini?
I don't want your life.
Fucking James Vanderbeek in that goddamn accent. Speaking of accents, that's what we're talking about today.
Well, kind of, because CJ is from North Ireland, so he's going to have a little bit of an accent. We'll have subtitles later.
As soon as we decipher what he said.
Give us a little bit. But no, so what are some of the weird quirks? I think we're all hopelessly addicted to masturbation.
I mean, I'm not going to say no. I have Pornhub on my front page. It's on my quick fucking icon.
Martina knows where her bread's buttered. Levi has this shit-eating grin on his face right now.
Does he?
Well, you keep stretching it back, but it's there.
Because I can't see it.
I can't see your grin. Bring it back to me. There it is.
One time.
No, but no. I think we're all addicted to some sort of vice here or there.
Or all of them.
The greats all had great. Back in the day when they could just trip off laudanum and opium, and chase the dragon, and then write some crazy fucking shit.
And then get awards for them.
Yeah, now we're just I'm addicted to caffeine really heavily. But in that, my spirit animal is Voltaire, because Voltaire would write his works. He consumed the equivalent of almost 80 cups of coffee a day. He was a near fatal dose of caffeine daily to do what he did. And caffeine tried to kill me twice in my life. So, I feel like we're there together.
So tell me, what's your favorite writing by Voltaire?
I don't have a favorite writing by Voltaire. I'm just saying that, I actually was...
I don't really give a fuck what he wrote. I'm just saying I like the fact that he didn't die every day.
Well, Voltaire was, he was a philosopher.
Yes.
He was a French philosopher.
You got it. You're getting there.
I know.
You can do it, honey. We got faith in you.
I'm just
Google
saying.
faster.
I'm not Googling. I know who he was. I was a philosophy major for about 2 semesters. I feel like Pauly Shore in the sun.
fucking philosophy major?
Yeah.
Of course you were. Of course you were. So you realized the philosophy wasn't all about you.
Yep.
Well, and then I got tired of watching Roadhouse for a while. And so I decided to change my major.
Why were you watching Roadhouse every day?
Well, Patrick Swayze, he was a philosophy major in Roadhouse. And I was like, yeah, Roadhouse.
I'm going to get my PhD and I'm going to do my thesis on Patrick Swayze.
It'd be a good thesis. No, but that was one of my majors, my many majors.
He's the very model of a modern nature general. I swear I'm not drunk, but I might be a little high on cat pee. I'm not sure.
But that was a good one.
I have them every now and again.
Oh my god.
I can't even keep my eyes open in here. Does anybody else feel like their eyes are burning for real?
No. Martina, we're recording a podcast for our fans. Fucking get your shit
For our
together.
fans. We have fans?
We have plural now.
Both of them. Give them the respect they deserve.
Dorothy Mantooth was a saint. All right, but seriously though, so some of the weird quirks. I think that one's one. I think one of the fun ones that authors do is when they talk to their characters and in a totally not crazy way. I know you do it.
How is there a not crazy way to talk to your characters?
Well, your characters are real.
I believe my characters are real.
I make them real.
We talk about
Real
about
bitches.
them in my house all the time like they are real.
Well, that's because you base your characters off of your daughters.
Well, I based one character off of all the women in my family.
And I killed every single one of them.
I did not.
Hello.
Did you just knock?
What? Girl, you good?
Not sure.
You good though? Cause
I'm really not.
I'm a
I
little
think I
good.
might be a little feverish.
Yeah, you got itchy eyeballs and you're fucking hearing knocking and shit.
But you really didn't hear that.
No.
Okay. Just checking. Is anybody writing any of this down? Because when I hit the ER later, they're going to have some questions.
Do you smell toast? Hold your hands out in front of you and repeat this simple
No, I
phrase.
just smell cat pee.
There's no cat pee in here.
The cat boxes are right there.
But it doesn't smell like cat pee in here.
It smells like cat pee and candy.
I smell cat pee candy. Yeah. Who's that lounging in my chair? Jesus Christ, can we do this for serious? Martina, start listing off some weird shit you do.
I think we're here. You get to see it live.
Oh my god.
I mean, okay. I can't write unless I have...
I can't write the end.
I can't write. Truth's out. All those 5 stars. It's all fucking bullshit. I bought them all. No, I can't write without my strawberry acai refresher, which is all just the juice and no water.
Yeah, every time I go to the Starbucks to pick that up for you, I'm like, yeah, that refresher, but no water, no. And
Light
just
ice, no berries, and they're like, you want us to just dump this in a cup? Do you know how much caffeine that is? I'm like, fuck me up, fam. Now I go every morning.
Do I look like a pussy?
I go every morning to my Starbucks, and as soon as I pull up, they're like, bacon and Gouda and a strawberry acai refresher, light ice, no water, no berries. I'm like, yep. And they're like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like, they just have a rating for me.
They've been saying that for the last 4 cars, just wait for you to pull up.
On Fridays, I go before my therapy sessions, and they always say the same thing. Oh, you're late today.
Aw, you've patronized your local Starbucks to such a level that they expect you.
Yep, there's Heather, Taylor, Mike. I know them all by name.
There's Heather, Taylor.
Wait, Taylor, though? She'll never hear this. Taylor looks like Sarah Huckabee Sanders if Sarah Huckabee Sanders wasn't a liar and didn't have, like, a stroke or something that fucked up half her face. I think, like, the weight of her lies is just, like, making one side of her face melt or something. That's why she got that wonky eye. But Taylor's, like, a younger, prettier, non-shit version of Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
She doesn't... Sarah Huckabee Sanders looks like she smells like cat piss.
She totally does.
I don't know why, but she does.
And she would tell you she smells like roses. Anyway, but yeah. So, that's all I think of every time I see her. I'm just like, she could have been really pretty, that Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
If only.
If only she wasn't
only.
Satan.
Oh, man.
So yeah, so I can't drink without a lot of caffeine. Wait, nope, that's not right. I can't write without a lot of caffeine.
I drink.
Yes, thank you. Sometimes I shoot it up, but that's another podcast. I'm just kidding.
I'd take it intravenously as I could. Bitch, you stab me with your nails.
I don't have any nails. I have less nails than you do.
You worked for it then.
Fucking coke nails.
I don't have coke nails. That dad that beat up that pedophile has coke nails.
Pedophile dad.
No.
Nope.
He beat up the pedophile.
Yes.
Not pedophile dad. Cokehead dad.
Weird, scary, possibly biker dad.
Can I go ahead and say that if you make your children call you sir and or ma'am and don't allow them to call you mom and or dad.
If you've just been molested and you're still so terrified of your dad that you still have to say, please, sir, don't kill him, something else is going on in that family.
Yeah, I feel like your dad beats the hell out of you.
Yeah, or worse. Anyway. What else?
Oh, my baby.
I usually write with music. I usually have like a playlist for each book, but I don't need it to write.
I'm hit or miss. It can really help me get me like in the writing spirit a little bit, but
get you in the mood.
It'll get me in the mood. Usually Pony by Genuine helps.
When you're writing when you're writing fight scenes.
Layla just stuck her big toe in my butt.
Lisa wasn't. Oh no, wasn't her old foot.
All right, now you got to get your toe back.
What?
She ain't getting her toe back now. Clenching. No, but so I mean that's one thing. I do like it dark and cold, and I do like.
Are we
incense.
still talking about writing? Or Layla's toe?
Maybe her toe likes it dark and cold, but you're gonna get it warm and moist. That's what the inside of a butthole is like. Oh, I gotta go put the baked potatoes in.
In your butthole. I changed my mind. I don't want a baked potato with dinner. I don't know. I didn't realize you'd be cooking them organically.
The fact that shit just came to me like that, I'm concerned on many levels.
Yeah, I don't know where that train of thought came from, but I'd hate to see the diagram.
Diaphragm?
What is with you and diaphragms?
I don't know. We were talking about them earlier.
The 90s called they want their contraception.
Did they use diaphragms in the 90s? 90s wants their contraband back, Vanilla Ice. If you guys are listening and it sounds like you're having a fever dream, welcome to our podcast.
I am having a fever dream. I feel very warm.
You're sweating like a whore in church right now.
I think there's something wrong with me.
Martina's
Where am I?
stroking out. All right. Oosa, oosa. I'm not gonna grab your earlobe, but I'm just gonna do one of these by your earlobe. Just oos. There you go. Oosa.
My heart rate is 112 right now. Just so the whole everybody when they ask.
I was offending myself.
What did you just do? What are you doing? Stop. Why are you molesting yourself again?
I'm blocking my butthole from Layla's foot.
And you guys are accusing me of not paying attention? You're playing hide the toe. Was Zach's fucking butthole? What the fuck?
All right, so here's the deal. We need to focus and bring this back to books somehow and authors because we're getting ready to interview CJ.
Well, what do you do?
Yeah, what are you bringing to the table there, Sparky?
So I think I was trying to say all along that I do nothing. No.
That you do so.
Who do you voodoo? Well, I like music. It really depends on like the mood that I'm trying to get in. Because sometimes music then also pisses me off, and it actually is distracting the shit out of me. And I'm like, fuck this. I need silence now. But usually I like it cold. I like it dark. I like incense and candles.
When he summons the demons to help him write his book.
I'm the demon.
Baphomet, please come to me and help me write this goddamn last chapter. Layla walks in the room. Write the fucking chapter. Thanks, Baphomet.
My name is Layla. Zach.
It's not funny. Then why is this pentagram painted underneath my desk?
That was Layla.
Yeah.
She's like, I need something to get these sales.
Way to go, Sal. Now that was me.
Who's Sal?
Practical Magic.
Oh. Sally.
And her whore sister, Nicole Kidman.
Sex positive, Zach. Sex positive. We don't call people whores.
Do
Call
we?
them literary sex workers.
Literary sex workers is great. But yes, that's pretty much where I'm at with it. I definitely consume copious amounts of caffeine, but that's because I have severe ADHD and I'm self-medicating.
It's not working.
No, it stopped working a few years ago. I should probably see a doctor about that.
Yeah, among many other things. Yes.
You said the growth was completely normal.
I did not, actually. You said it after you tried to. Never mind.
Moral of the story, kids. Never try to pop a hemorrhoid thinking it's a blackhead or a pimple.
Ugh.
That's a story for a mini-sode.
That's a story for a mini-sode.
Yeah, don't you? Can you?
Go check out our
wait,
Patreon.
kids. Ooh, run out today.
I'm going to go get my check and get me some of that Patreon going on. Here's Zach talk about his butthole.
Exactly. You know, I just don't think they talk about dicks and gay porn enough. I want to pay for extras.
You always pay for extras.
Pay for everything.
All right, so I tell you what. Let's go ahead because you and I are just rambling. We really need to focus because we're having too much fun right now. Let's get CJ on the line and see what he has to say about things and such.
Well, what did you do?
Is that you, Martina, is it?
No.
No. Layla started recording it.
Wait, what is she recording? What's happening?
She's recording us. The podcast. We've started recording the podcast.
Oh, we weren't recording before?
No, that's why I was telling Layla, like, get that shit going.
Oh, she didn't give me the finger. Damn it.
There you go.
I need pictures.
So, welcome to another interview with Books and Bullshit. We are here. We're all about, reaching out and touching people in many ways. And tonight we have C.J Rutherford that's here to help us touch people.
Hello. I promise to keep my extremities to myself.
Yeah, no touching yourself on the podcast.
Only
So
touch.
I've turned the video off.
Well, if you do, we're putting on the Patreon for an hour.
We'll make them pay for it. Don't worry.
Oh,
We'll even give you a 10% cut.
10%? Is that all?
Well, oh, come on. You get more out of it than we do.
You want to bet?
All right. So first off,
if we're gonna start this thing right, we have to know, CJ, what are you drinking tonight?
Homemade wine.
Ooh.
Like prison wine, like you made in your toilet, or
No, it's actually really nice stuff. It's Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, very fancy. It takes a whole week to make.
Wine only takes a week to make.
Yeah.
For wine.
And it costs a whole £1 a bottle.
How do you make wine at home?
It's just something we do over here. You go to the shop, you get the grape concentrate, you put it in the big barrel, you put yeast in it, top it up with water, and you leave it a week. And then you get a very long straw.
So you guys in Ireland drink so much you have to make your wine at home?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just more economic that way.
No, that's just us. We're alcoholics. What can I say?
So tell us a little bit about you for the people who don't know you at home.
Oh God, that's probably against the law.
Well, tell us a lot about you, whatever.
No, well, I suppose from a writing standpoint, I started writing in 2014. 51 now, so what was that? Well, I'm still old. But yeah, wrote the first book in 3 weeks on an Android tablet. It was terrible.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
I put it up on Amazon and I waited for the money to roll in, and obviously it didn't, you know. But no, so that was great. We got taken under the wing by the first time I'd ever heard of indie authors, you know, a group of indie authors. And they helped me with the book and polished it, and took about 6 months. Mm-hmm. Got it sort of ready for publishing. So yeah, it's out there along with the 4 other books in the series. I also have an imaginary dragon called Claude who lives in my head.
Yeah, he comments a lot on our posts.
Yeah, he's a bit of a snark. He was a bit of a snark. He lived in Peter Jackson's head for a while. Whenever he was doing the Lord of the Rings movies, he cameoed as Smaug. You may have seen them in the Hobbit movie. So yeah, that was Claude.
Oh.
Everyone thinks it was Benedict Cumberbatch, but you know, they just dubbed his voice over it.
Well, you're obviously not too drunk if you could say Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was Bennington Cumberbund.
Slender back Humpty Man.
So Claude does most of my marketing. He writes my newsletter and stuff, you know. So all my newsletters come out from Claude the Imaginary Dragon. And there's always a bit of
fantastic.
Is he related to Puff the Magic Dragon by any chance?
Second cousins twice removed.
Gotcha.
So all of your books are from the same series, right? You have one series that is continuous for now.
Yes, there's the Neverwar books, the Tales of the Neverwar, and most of my books are set in that. Even the Companion of Darkness book is set in the same universe, but almost just after the dawn of time of the age of the books. But then I've got Treaters as well, which is like a complete departure, which is like your sort of post-apocalyptic survival novel. But sort of with a difference, there's none of the old cliches of pandemics or zombie apocalypses or anything. It's done in a slightly different way, where there's demons and stuff involved. And it's quite biblical in ways. You know, there's in the epilogue. I shock everybody in the epilogue because everyone thinks the book's open or over, and they think it's just one book and it's a standalone. And then the epilogue comes along and go, oh shit, it's going to be a book 2. So, and it's got probably one of my favorite characters. Like everyone loves the character. The character's a dog called Trey, and Trey is very central to the plot. I think she is like one of the best characters I've ever written, to be honest. Everyone loves her.
Your dog is your favorite character?
Yeah, well, yeah, the
Does
dog.
she speak?
No, she doesn't speak. But in the original draft of the book, I actually killed her.
I believe I remember
Wow.
you asking about whether or not you should kill off an animal in your book, and I told you that you'd be better off killing off an infant than a dog.
Yes, you said that. Yes, I actually had a couple. You know, Sherry Winkler.
Yep.
She threatened to get on a plane and come over and kick my ass If I
Yeah.
killed yeah.
It worked out well for John Wick.
Yes, well, that's it. Yeah, but so no, it's so no. I ended up keeping Trey, and Trey's even a bigger part in book 2. You know, and this a big plot twist has just come up where you find out what Trey actually is.
You're welcome.
So, yeah.
Wow.
You almost killed off your best character.
Yeah, I know. But no,
Shit,
that's
for
just,
authors, you could always have brought him back to life.
It's true, especially if there's demons involved.
well, sort of the mechanics of what's happening in the world sort of stops you bringing anything back to life. But no, I'll explain more of that.
Spoiler alert.
You better read the book.
Oops.
So what exactly got you into writing in the first place?
He's
Desperation.
Irish.
Desperation for money.
So the green in Ireland is money.
Or he
Yes.
wants it to be.
Yeah, it doesn't exist over here the same way it doesn't exist over there. But no. Basically, I had told stories to the kids, like every night, like lullabies and whatever, sort of made things up.
Your kids, or did you sneak into other people's houses and just start telling stories to
We
their
don't
children?
talk about that. We don't talk about that.
There's still a court case pending.
Yeah, lots of therapy.
In exchange for the charges being dropped, the silence agreement has been signed.
Yeah, it wasn't anything to do with Epstein, promise.
Oh no. I hope not.
Oh God, sorry, that's terrible. No, so basically they grew up, and I wanted to put the stories down on the paper. Started writing the first book as like a kid's book. Sort of like,
That changed.
yeah, all that changed big time. Yeah, it got an awful lot darker. It's still young adult, but it is, it is the ultimate good versus evil series, like light versus darkness. But yeah, it's just something I sort of needed to write. I wrote the first 3 books really in a year.
God.
Well, that's and I've written like 3 books since in the next 3 years, so that doesn't really work out well.
Yeah, it's like it either happens or it doesn't. Like you
Yeah.
can't force those things.
That's it. You can't force it, and everyone keeps talking to me, keep on PMing me about when's Traders 2 out or when's the second companion book out. And I'm going, it's coming, honest.
So are you working on both of them right now, or are you working on one in particular?
One in particular, I want to get Traders 2 finished, so because it's only going to be a duology, just the 2 books. And I've got about 30k words on it, and I've got the end written, which is
It's just all that stuff in the middle.
Yeah,
that's the hard part.
I've got the end written, and it's a real tearjerker, apparently.
Oh, great.
It's happy ever after, but it's like a happy sad, if you know what I mean.
Bittersweet.
Yeah, so it's going to be good. But and I've got like about 30k written on it. Once I finish that, I've got hopefully another 4 books in the companion series to write. I have started.
Wow, another 4 books?
Yeah, I'm hoping they have 5 books in that series.
And you've got audiobooks now too, right?
Yeah, nearly all of them are not on audio. Audiobooks are great. I love them. And Americans love their audiobooks, because these guys drive so long to get places.
Because all we do is sit in our cars for hours.
Right.
Like I drive an hour and a half from one side of the Northern Ireland to the other. That's it.
Everybody just walks to their jobs in Ireland.
Yeah, well, I can. I can get Wi-Fi and work from my house. That's how close my work is. So it's just the next street over. But no, it's the companion books.
Economical.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. It's good in the winter whenever we actually get maybe like half an inch of snow and the whole country grinds to a halt, and you can walk.
Well, if we got snow here in Florida, they would shut it down.
Meanwhile, we moved down here from up north, which is Maine. It's pretty much in the tippy top of the U.S. And there it's like, oh, it's a snowstorm last night. It was a light one. We only got 3.5 feet of snow.
Yeah. Well, Maine, that's where well, a lot of the Stephen King novels are set, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep, that's where he lives.
Yeah. What
So
a guy.
His daughter's a real pain in the ass.
Really?
Yeah, she's very Layla's stepfather. He's an English professor at USM, and she went there, and she is this really indignant. I can write fantastic. Do you know who my father is? And he was like,
Oh,
she was a C English student at best.
God. Oh, you got them.
Well, I mean, his son writes pretty decent. Well, his son writes exactly like he does. Joe Hill
Right.
writes books exactly like his father.
Oh, cool. What's his name?
Joe Hill.
Joe Hill?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yes.
I'm sure it's probably Joe King, but
Yeah, no, yeah, I know. I've read a couple of Joe Hill's books. Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
yeah, he's got that same kind of like folksy style that his father has, but a little bit more dark.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
His Nosferatu book was very, very dark.
yeah.
Oh.
As was Nosferatu.
Sorry, I just hit the mic.
So,
Nosferatu.
so CJ, when you're reading, I know, a lot of people can't believe that when we're writing books, sometimes it's not super easy reading books, but if and when you do read, what do you like to read yourself?
It's sort of like what I write, young adult fantasy. I just finished the Sarah J. Maas books, the Game of Thrones, or not Game of Thrones, the Throne of Glass books. They were just like amazing. Loved
Didn't
them.
your daughter get you into those books?
Yeah, my daughter is my go-to for what to read next. Like, she'll just come out, and say, "You gotta read this," and it's quite a funny story. Is the other series that Sarah J. Maas does, the Court of Thrones and Roses,
Yeah.
ACOTAR. She got me to read book one, which is really, really good. It's sort of based on Beauty and the Beast type retelling, and it was quite good. Like, definitely young adults, nothing untoward or anything in it.
So you get to book two.
Yeah, and then I read it, and then book two came out, and she read it, and she was like, "Daddy, I don't think you'd like book two."
I don't think you'd like it. It's
what?
terrible.
Why? What's wrong with it? Is it really bad? Yeah, it's just not. It's just not good. I don't think you should read it. I had it on my Kindle, so I thought, stuff, I'll go ahead and read it anyway. And I got to this point where there's like it's not Michael, it's porn. Like, it really is. It is.
Yeah, no, there's like a lot of finger banging and all kinds of stuff going on in book two. It was like, whoa, we just really switched gears here.
It is totally graphic. There's nothing left of the imagination at all. And to this day, all I have to say to my daughter is the tavern scene, and she runs screaming up the stairs with her hands over her ear, la la la, I can hear you.
Nobody wants to hear their dad talk about their favorite porn scene in a YA book.
It's totally
kind of
but it's such good fun whenever you do.
So what do people do in fun in Ireland other than, drink?
Oh, we went out walking today with a dog. We've just got a new dog, a wee puppy.
Aww.
So we've two dogs now. We've got like a 10-year-old Lhasa Apso and a 5-month-old Border Collie. So yeah, they're opposites. Like, definitely the opposite. Like, Maisie, the older dog, she would be more like a cat than a dog. She's like
sort of like that very often.
Yeah,
Get a cat that's like a dog.
You go and pet her, and she's like, yeah, you may pet me, that sort of thing, And while as Callie, the pup, just bangs on top of you and goes, I love you.
Which is what we're all really looking for in a dog.
Pretty much.
Just validation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Blind adoration.
Yeah, they're both great dogs, but they're just so different.
Do they get along?
But like my daughters are just too chalk and cheese,
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's a cat. That's not
No,
me.
you're like feeling up your foot again.
I'm scratching my heel.
Okay, you have had your hand on your foot for 3 separate interviews. What are you doing over there? You have athlete's foot?
It's better than my hand on other things.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
I mean, it's
Well, that's what it's usually. It's usually sitting on your dick, like you think somebody's going to try to steal it.
somebody might. You never know. That's a fear of every man, that somebody's gonna come up and just snatch your wiener away from you.
Which is hilarious because you're always waving it around and like you want everybody to look at it. But then if anybody tries to take it, you get mad.
It's like fishing. Like, you want the fish to bite the worm, but you don't want to lose the worm.
What size is this worm?
Which one of us is the fish in this scenario?
Size of the worm isn't important. It's the size of the fish.
Okay, it's what you do with the worm is important,
Yeah.
Okay. You're ridiculous.
Yep, that's how I roll. So, now I always find it interesting when we speak to other authors in different parts of the world. A few weeks ago, we were speaking to an author in Australia, and it was a really great interview. But how do you find like writing or being an author in your country? Like, do you get a lot of sales overseas, or are you very heavily like supported by your sales and your readership in Ireland, or how does that look?
No, I would say 99.9% of my sales are US based, to be honest, Even though the initial series, The Tales of the Neverwar, it starts out in Northern Ireland, so I've got the scenes that people from over here in Belfast will be familiar with, different pubs and stuff, etc.
Of course.
Yeah.
Pubs and Catholic churches. Is there anything else in
There's a pub and a Catholic church. Yes.
There's a pub in a
the
Catholic church.
church. Oh, my grandmother would have been in her glory.
I'll tell you a wee story. I used to I was in the Air Force and used to work over in Stornoway. It's in the Outer Hebrides. It's like way northwest of Scotland. It's very sort of they say it's religious, but it's not really. Every Sunday, there's no flights, there's no boats. You get the Sunday papers on a Monday, and the only bar on the whole island that's open is the RAF camp. But whenever you open the doors, the first people in the queue were the priest and the bishop.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
That goes without saying.
Right.
So they were drunk every Sunday, where the parishioners were at home with the TV turned to the wall with a blanket over it.
Wait, what?
Yep, they weren't allowed to watch TV on a Sunday.
You didn't know that?
No.
Couldn't watch TV. No washing or anything like that. No washing hung out in the line or anything like that. Oh, big no-no.
Yeah, the only way you could tell my grandmother was Irish is to know what a fucking alcoholic she was. She was a Catholic and she was an alcoholic. Those were her two defining factors in life.
Yep.
She would call me at 3:00 in the morning and be like, "I'm out of wine." Like, wait, it's 3 a.m. She'd be like, "Walmart's open 24 hours."
Well, that's the good thing about homebrew is why you never run out of wine.
Kind of want to try that now.
Yeah, when you make your own wine, you never run out. I wish if we'd have had such a thing, my grandmother would have been in her glory. She wouldn't have had to use those box wines like a sippy cup.
Fancy it because she's classy.
That's right.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
Like a big Capri Sun.
Yeah, just don't put on any don't put it on any painted surfaces.
So, have you ever had the opportunity to go to any book conventions or signings? Or have you ever come stateside for a book signing?
No, but I've met Sarah J. Maas a couple of times down at. She's done a couple of signings down in Dublin.
Oh.
So, I mean, the daughter went down and met her and got a couple of photographs and stuff. So yeah, that was great. But no, I did one signing, which was really, really badly organized. Basically, we turned up at the Titanic Exhibition Center.
Well, you should have seen it coming.
Yeah, it should have went down with the iceberg. I'm telling you, there was about 6 people got in because they were only selling tickets online, which closed the day before the event. So like there was people turning up the door trying to get in. They wouldn't let them in.
Like, let them in.
Yeah, I know.
You have wares if they have coin.
Yeah, I think I sold about 2 books, and that was the other authors.
Oh. It's pretty bad when you're like trying to hawk your books to the other people who are trying to hawk their books.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it doesn't quite work like that.
It becomes a book exchange.
Yeah, you buy mine, if I buy yours. Yeah.
Please? So I didn't have to call this a complete loss.
Oh, dude, your books are more expensive than my books. You better bring that shit down so I can trade you.
Or you can get the old one. You only charged him £5. You charged me 6.
What the hell?
That's the economics, bud. It's the end of the day, 4 o'clock. We're going home. I've got to get shifted.
That beer doesn't buy itself.
The wine doesn't make itself.
Okay, Charlie, what are you doing?
Sorry, we are, speaking of dogs, we're surrounded by 3 dogs in our little office that we're all crammed in, and they're just all over the place right now.
My dog is just wandering aimlessly. What are you doing? Lay down. 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 Okay, you're just leaning. That's not down. Come down. Why do you embarrass me like this? Listen.
Martina will get there eventually. So, do you have any goals to at some point, travel or go somewhere for a bigger book signing?
Well, there's possibly something coming up. We've got we submitted Companion of Darkness, the audio version, to the Oddies for the 2020. So that's basically the Oscars of the audio book world.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's in for that. And basically, if I win or what comes second or third or whatever, I'm planning on coming over to New York for the presentation. So
that would be really fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'd love that. Like, there's a few people I've met. A few of my author friends, like Patricia Rose was over here a couple of years ago. We took her all around Ireland, and she went over to see some of the Scottish authors as well. So that was great. That was fantastic. I love Pat. She's my best author friend.
Yeah, she's really sweet.
It's one of my best friends in the world. She really
I always thought she lived over there where you live, and then just the other day she's like, I live in the United States.
Yeah, it's in Kentucky.
This whole time I thought she was over there with him because they're such good friends. I was like, oh, they must be in the same, country.
Nope.
Nope.
Her husband's great as well, Kevin. He's a really nice fellow. He's like so dry though, just like he'd sitting there with like completely non-expressive face and just something hilarious will come out of his mouth.
Yeah, those are my favorite people. The people who are like really low key funny. And you're like, you almost miss their like glib jokes, and then you're like, hey, I see you over there.
That's exactly it.
It's coming in the clutch.
Those ninja burns.
Are you gonna ask him what he hates about the indie world like you always do?
I was just gonna I was. So one thing that I always like to ask, just as people who just in different aspects and areas in the indie book world, but what's one thing that you like about being an indie author of the indie book world, and what are some things that you don't like, or something you think we could be doing better?
Well, the thing I like is the whole community, like people like yourselves. Like I love to try and help people. Like you guys do the same, obviously, with this podcast and stuff. But no, the whole community, the way we gel together, the way most of us help each other out. Basically, we are sort of one big family. But then you get the absolute arseholes come along that, spoil it for everyone else. And just to buy my books. My books are fantastic. Why would I read one of your books whenever my books are so much better? That sort of thing.
The people who run into your IMs and they're like, hey, I know you don't know me, but here's a link to my book. You should really read it. Yeah.
Oh, I delete them off of my pages instantly. And you're now kicked out of the group.
I actually got sort of friendly with a guy whenever I was about a year into the writing. A guy called Stephen Swan. And
he sounds like an asshole.
Yeah, he was. I actually invited him to a book reader depot, which was one of the biggest reading books on Facebook at the time before the whole rule changes came in. Mm-hmm. And the whole deal was you had to fulfill certain criteria, like read a couple of other books before you could, tout your book. But of course, his first post was buy my book, So I contacted him and said, Steve, I'd explained the rules to him before he even came in. He must have been like a kid in the candy store. So he came in, buy my book, content. Steve, you can't do that. You've got to go ahead and read some of these other books. And that was the statement. He said, it's like, why would I want to read any of those books whenever mine is so much better? He actually said that.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. He got two chances, then he got booted. And last thing I looked at his books, they were like languishing in the 2 million mark or something.
Doesn't that just make you feel good a little bit?
Yeah. Yes and no. I don't like the same. But yeah, he was a knob.
Sometimes karma, you get to watch it happen. It's worth it.
Yeah.
I had somebody come into my reader group one time, and they posted a synopsis of a book, and they wanted everybody's opinion. I had no idea who this person was. They just requested to join my group like 2 hours beforehand. Yeah. And the book premise was It was a Nazi who had died, and their spirit was like in limbo, and a druggie overdosed. And right when the druggie overdosed, the Nazi took over their body and was able to come back. And the Nazi officer is now living in modern times and is just so brokenhearted over how the German culture has changed over the years, and it's trying to show how the German culture was just completely destroyed after World War II and stuff. And I'm like, two things. One, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
And then two, did you just pitch a
Pro-Nazi book?
a Nazi
White
supremacist
supremacist
fantasy on a Polish author's page?
Ouch. Oh no.
Oops.
Were all the German authors busy?
Yeah. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out for him.
Oh god, I think I might have given him enough rope to hang himself in that one.
God, that was bad.
I think everybody was just kind of shocked, like, wait, I just want to be sure I'm reading this right. Are you pitching a pro-Nazi book?
Totally pro-Nazi.
We should have seen this coming. Clearly, it was been in the works for a while.
Yeah, I'm in a couple of like Irish groups, you know, Irish around the world and Irish political groups. Like, I keep politics off my main author profile, but my other one is sort of open, like open fire and basically anything in politics. But some of the Irish groups are, you know, wild. You know, they call themselves Irish, but they're nothing. Like they don't understand the Irish people at all.
Like they're Irish as in like their great grandmother was Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
It's like, look, if you don't have dual citizenship,
Yeah, you're not Irish. Yeah.
you're not Irish.
Well, that's what's funny is because I always, you know, I'm Polish by name, but my two grandfathers on my mom's side are actually from Northern Ireland. They immigrated to the States when my mom was a baby. And it's so funny when like here in the US and everybody goes ham on St. Patrick's Day and just all these like just stereotypes, and my grandfathers just grit their teeth the whole time.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like because I'm like a Protestant, I'm not a Catholic, you know, so we wouldn't necessarily have celebrated St. Patrick's Day over here for years. You know, St. Patrick's Day was a Catholic holiday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was still is to a degree, the whole culture of them and us. It's getting an awful lot better now. But like until I really went to England, I never really celebrated St. Patrick's Day. But now I'm an alcoholic. It's just another excuse to drink.
Another excuse to drink. So my question, speaking of England, do the Irish and the English really hate each other?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Like, my brother-in-law is British, and I ask him about this all the time. He's like, no, it's real. It's a real thing. But my brother-in-law is kind of an asshole, so I'm like, I don't know if he really means it or if he's just fucking with me. So, like...
No, don't get me wrong. I've very, very many English friends, but it's probably the same as saying, like, I've got a lot of black friends. Whenever you're you know, it's a bit like that. But yeah, it's the whole English governmental system, the whole past is... It's worse than yours, to be honest.
Wow, that's a mighty bold statement right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's given what you're going through at the moment, yeah.
I feel like we need like stones and we just start adding up like on either side to see whose government is worse at the moment.
Yes.
So little Boris is just getting started.
Yeah, both got clowns in government.
For sure. Ugh. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you before we end this. What's your social media links? Like, do you have a webpage? Like, how can people find your books?
Yep, go to cjrutherford.com. You can follow me on Facebook, C.J. Rutherford. Facebook page, C.J. Rutherford Author. Or I'm on Twitter as Write Rutherford.
All right.
So that's
Anything else?
W-R-I-T, Rutherford.
I don't have anything else. CJ, is there anything else you want to just proclaim to everybody before we end the interview?
Yeah, Claude loves you.
Aww. We love him too.
We love Claude too.
Hey guys,
sounds like Benedict Cumberbatch.
See what I can do.
All right, well, this has been really fun. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure we'll have you on again at some point.
Absolutely.
Great. Absolutely. Great speaking to you guys.
Well, have fun drinking for the rest of the night.
Enjoy the homemade wine.
Enjoy your homemade wine.
This is
Saturday.
timed well because we just finished my glass.
Perfect.
That's how we do it.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
How funky is
How loose is your goose? Our goose is totally loose. So come on, all you hog fans. So come on, all you hog fans, and shake your caboose. And shake your caboose. Oh, the original Buffy movie.
Good times.
He's dead now.
Buffy?
No, the boyfriend.
Don't talk about him.
You okay?
No, don't talk about him.
All right. So thank you, CJ, for coming along and entertaining us. Again, we're gonna try to get subtitles for some of that in there. I don't know how we're gonna make that work in a podcast, but we'll do what we can.
Or conversely, you guys could get just really drunk, and then for some reason he sounds American.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about like weird habits of people and like talking to their characters and stuff, and he totally talks to the dragon in his head.
Oh yeah, and then he lets us talk to the dragon in his head by giving him his own Facebook page.
All right, Martina. So what do you got for social media links for us?
I got all of them.
Sweet.
Oh, you want me to tell you?
I mean, that'd be great.
All right, cool. You can find us on Facebook at Books and Bullshit. You can find us on Instagram at Books and BS Podcast. You can find us on the Twitter at Books Bullshit P1. And you can email us your fucking crazy ass stories so that we don't have to tell you our crazy ass stories at booksandbspodcast@gmail.com. We also have a Patreon, which fucking Zach will tell you about ad nauseum right now.
So if you guys like the content that you hear, we really love that you like the content that you hear. And if you want to continue hearing it, because you do, don't you? You like hearing it. You like hearing us talk.
Please, God, stop saying hearing.
Anyway, guys, on a serious note, we appreciate all the support and love we get from you guys. We hope that we're always bringing you guys awesome content that makes you guys laugh, because that's the point. Because if you're listening to us and you're not laughing, then we are just complete failures. Granted, sometimes I feel like these episodes are just a hot, steamy dumpster fire. Anyway, but go check out our Patreon page. There's tiers on there as low as $1 a month. You get you all sorts of exclusive content. We don't break the exclusive content, so we don't say it's exclusive and then like in a couple of months we're gonna release it on our other social media. No. Stays there. It's the only way to get it. And the Patreon helps us fund everything that we do. So if you like this stuff, the Patreon actually goes directly to fund this stuff. Because Martina's got to drive like 3 freaking hours to come here and hang out with us and do all this shit. So go check out our Patreon. Please, 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 please. If you continue to all give us all of your monies, eventually we will establish a tier that is $100 a month. And it will just be nudes of me cuddling dogs.
Jesus.
Tasteful.
Do we get the dog's consent first?
Yeah, we'll put their paw on a piece of paper or something.
I feel like somebody's gonna call like PETA on us or something.
I feel like Charlie's chasing something in his dream.
He is.
He's running away from you.
Yeah, he heard you.
I don't want to snug with you.
He
All right.
loves snugging with you.
I know, right? I love having him around. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it. I appreciate it, guys. We appreciate all love and support. Go check out our Patreon, and you guys have a good one.
Deuces.
Later.